Apparently we're off. We got 6 minutes to figure out what's going on with Willard Games, aka WillardJBradley.
Looks like we have a blue male in the very first chest in Link's
let's
house.
give him defense early.
But yeah, as we mentioned, and as chat's already figured out, we have a very familiar seed type here. We're actually going back in time to the spring tournaments. We're doing a Defeat Ganon standard mode, randomized swords, normal difficulty with no variation. So let's see what Uncle's going to have for us today. Very random weapon, and we get the Can of Samaria.
Nice quick kills there for dataworld. Talk about the magnitude of this match here, Slim.
Well, as I said before, magnitude very, very high. We have two top seeds of this group. They're both undefeated. They've both done a third of their matches at this point. And, you know, they're both looking to be in pretty good shape. I feel like this one, you know, this is honestly a match to kind of, I guess, kind of help secure the placements of these two runners in their group. Because, yeah, if you keep going undefeated, like, that's, you know, less matches at the very end of this that you will not have to worry about winning as much. So I think both are definitely going to be trying to push this, and they know that they're going to be against some strong opposition here because they're undefeated and because they are the top two of their group. So I think that'll be that's a huge competing point for both of them.
However, we will not be able to see what's going on Willard's screen. We will try to get him all fixed and back together, but obviously we're not going to get that for probably a nice 15-20 minutes from now.
We are definitely seeing some great execution, though, from dataworld, using that Can of Samaria very effectively to destroy all of the enemies in his path. Also picks up the Ice Rod as well inside the escape, so he has another weapon he can kind of get a little creative with if he so chooses, but I think he's just going to keep on going for those Samaria strats.
Nice use of the Samaria block there to finish off the ball and chain guard. Gets a shield, and then plows right into a green guard. So we're just underway, and you've got to assume at this point in the run that the first 6 minutes between these two would be exactly the same. And actually, honestly, the first, 11 minutes would be about the same, because Kakariko Village will be the next destination, obviously.
Yeah, unless one of our runners just decides to randomly switch things around and maybe do even an Eastern Palace dip first just to make things interesting, it's more than likely we're going to be seeing Kakariko. This is the pretty standard route, I guess you could say.
Yeah, but knowing Willard, he probably took the unstandard route and went to Eastern.
Hey, when you're up against someone who you know is going to be tough competition, you may want to make it interesting. You may want to do something that could give you a slight advantage, and if happens to run into some Dark World items over in Eastern, could come back over to Kakariko later and go straight to Dark World from there if he so chooses. So, not going to rule anything out.
You also have to assume that Willard got a bomb at this point.
Well, I mean, dataworld hasn't gotten one, so maybe he hasn't.
Well, maybe Willard ended up taking a death. Who knows? I mean, that ball and chain guard could be absolute nasty when you have the Can of Samaria.
Yeah, dataworld took a hit as well, so you really don't know. All we know is dark screen.
He's already doing dark rooms. Wow. Okay, come on, Ropes. Give us some bombs. Or just give us nothing. Don't give us death. We don't want death. There's a nice refill of the magic, though.
That will allow him to farm a little bit more in here. At this point, he only has one more enemy he has to kill, and that's the rats in the key room. And that's about it, so he can use his cane a little more often to see if he can find some bomb drops here. Gonna use them on these rats over here. Doesn't seem like he gets anything, though.
All he gets is a single rupee, which he leaves on the ground after getting that 300 rupees. So let's see if Data can get this bomb. We're down to the final couple of rooms here, this nasty rat, but thankfully that magic refill will give him the opportunity to get that rat pretty easily. In fact, it went right straight to him.
I have a bad feeling he's not going to find one, and then he opens the sanctuary chest, and it's going to be 3 bombs. I just have a feeling.
He's already given up on that. He doesn't want to waste any more time. It's time to head on over towards Kakariko Village anyway. Gonna have to be careful. Down to half a heart still. He should be fine, but you don't want to take a death here and have to do the sewers all over again, but he gets through.
And that was actually kind of close, because if that rat chose to go up when he stopped, yeah, Data World would have taken a death right there. So thankfully that didn't happen.
Actually, I think he had one more free hit. He could take
okay.
Rat, then he would have been dead. But nonetheless, here he heads on over towards Kakariko Village on a half a heart. Let's see what the tree pulls have in store for Data as he opts to take the path up here. It's never mind. We're not going to do the tree pull. We're going to head right straight for the Lost Woods.
Oh, we do get a tree pull in here. There's also the bush crab as well, though, so that could have also given us some bombs. Let's see what we get.
Oh, of course. When you have low health, that's actually a good tree pull.
For sure. Like, what if a bush guard came out of the bushes leading to the other item location? So getting those hearts, definitely good.
Definitely. So he ends up finding 10 arrows over as the free visible item, and now inside it is a 20 rupees, so no bombs so far. 337 rupees. I don't think we have to really worry too much about the next stage of Data's game plan. It is going to be head to shop and buy some 10. Or save and quit and not head to the village.
Could be going the southern route where you can get some guaranteed, well, not guaranteed, but, you know, half chance bomb drops from the, or just go straight to the eastern area. That works too. Look at the map.
We got some pendant dungeons in the light world.
Yeah, there was a pendant at Hera, there was a pendant at Eastern, and I believe it was a crystal at Desert.
That is a piece of heart on the Lake Hylia Island, so he's not going to do that. But we're going to get the bomb purchase here. And I would assume at this point, head over towards Eastern, knowing that that's a pendant dungeon?
Yeah, probably. This is the Defeat Ganon goal, which means don't need to do all dungeons, but with a pendant like Eastern, you can get in there and potentially get all the items without defeating the boss, which we can't even do right now anyway, so pretty strategic play, I'd say.
And meanwhile, WillardJBradley probably heading into Kakariko Village, and he's going to find junk in there, I guess. I don't know. We're staring at a black screen. Boomerang, 50 rupees, and a piece of heart. And that's as far as he's going to go. So he is not going to go into Eastern. Guess the game plan is pretty much check things while you can. And once you get to a stop point, go ahead and stop. Data World's going to check the south end of Hyrule.
So yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. You know, potentially checking other item locations before going to Kakariko. Because if he does happen to get all that Dark World access, when he goes to Kakariko, if he gets the rest of it, he can just go to the Dark World straight from there and start kind of working on the Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town area.
Well, he's not going to get Dark World access with those 10 arrows.
Nope. Unless he, like, constructs, like, the arrows into, like, uses the wood from the arrow to start working on the hammer, but I don't see that happening.
Let's give him 300 more rupees.
Well, when Zora's in logic, that could be a potential play.
Shoutouts to our tracker who's going to have a fun job once we get WillardJBradley back on the screen. Bombs here on the mini mole dorms, and takes care of that. 3 bombs remaining. And we get ourselves a heart container. There's some bombs to replenish. There's the bee in a bottle, which will save some time with Kakariko Village.
Yeah, definitely. I was a little surprised to see him not use Samaria in that cave, but bombs I think is just a little bit faster.
If not using the cane of Samaria, then the ice rod.
That's true too. Yeah, we have that at our disposal as well.
Dodges the Octorok, makes his way on over towards the Ice Rod Cave. Gonna still have to be careful of these things because they can deal you 1 heart of damage with the blue mail on. Gets inside, and let's see what's inside the Ice Rod Cave. After this, we have to assume that Data is heading to Kakariko Village, unless something big's here. Well, that's big, but it's not going to move the story along just yet. But you know what it's going to do, Slim?
Well, it's going to do a lot of things. For one, it's 1/3 of that Dark World access. 2,
exactly.
2, it's a more accurate weapon that's in terms we don't have to use magic or ammo to use as well. So
if we get the Moon Pearl and a glove here in Kakariko Village, Data World has just shrouded himself phenomenally here and got himself access to the portal and doesn't have to retreat back here later on.
That is very true. So we're going to start our Kakariko search right now, going through the greenhouse first.
Hey, there's a flute. There's a bombos. There's bombs. And we get ourselves the flippers. Well, the flippers probably would have been nice to have for that South Shore trip in order to get over to Zora. And there's some gloves. Guess what, Slim?
That's 2/3, just a Moon Pearl away. And, that's only one of the big high-volume locations we have. We have another one right here in the Kakariko Well. 5 more chests. Gonna get some arrows.
And 50 more rupees to go along with the 600 plus you already had. Some more rupees, silver arrows, and more rupees. This Kakariko Village is stacked, Slim.
Yes, it is. And, this is going to work out phenomenally well for Data World. Even if he doesn't find the Moon Pearl in here, he has the flute. He can go up to Death Mountain. He can go back to the Zora area pretty quickly if he flutes to 8 and then jumps in the water. And he can also even check Agina's cave a lot faster too. So definitely has a good amount of options in front of him.
I liked what Data World just did right there. He checked that bottle. If that bottle has the good bee in it, then he's going to sell that off to the vendor, perhaps, and use that to make some purchases here. But, I mean, you don't really have to worry about rupees. This is not going to be one of those poor seeds. But, if you could sell it for 100, you would sell it for 100.
Yeah, definitely. Because with the rupees, we have Zora money, we have pod money, and, there are a few other expenses, but with those other locations, we'll generally run into the rupees we'll need anyway. But if we get that 100, we could definitely get ourselves covered before then.
Let's see what the Sickhead has. Remember, this was a routing advantage. Unfortunately, it was just only for 20 rupees.
Well, hey, it's a convenient way to check this, at least, instead of having to come back just for that.
Gets it out of the way, definitely. So there's another heart container. Puts Data World now at 6 hearts. And so our boot's going to be required. Slim?
Well, we're going to take a little trip into the library as we find out if they are going to be required. And for right now, Not really, but there's still a lot of other boots options left, so we'll have to see about that.
I'd rather buy bombs than to get boots to get those 3.
It looks like we're going to be ignoring the race game as well. Just 10 arrows, and we are going back to 8. So I imagine this is going to be the Zora check. Will he go up to check out the hobo as well?
I have to assume this is a breadcrumb look here. You got the flippers. Yeah. Check this. See what you can get, especially considering the fact that you can flute to 8 and make this a whole lot faster.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, inside here we get ourselves a second mail upgrade and 10 bombs when you're already maxed out.
Hey, that 10 bomb could have been the item on Uncle, so at least they avoided a bomb escape.
It is very true. There's a heart container, which we will likely not see the data world go and get. All right, put your guesses into chat. What do you think the scam is going to be today? I'm going to say that, Slim, we are going to get a 5 rupee from this Zora.
I'm going to be a little nicer. It's going to be a 10 or a 20 rupee.
Just a little nicer.
Yeah.
Well, you were right with the 10 arrows.
I'd say that's even worse than getting a little money back, honestly.
Oh, I know where Data World is going to now. Remember, we didn't have any bombs during the escape.
Yeah, so we're going to get that checked right now. Now, if Willard did happen to find a bomb and escape, he would have had these 3 items a bit earlier, so that is something you got to think about.
Okay, inside. Piece of heart, and a sword.
That's our first sword upgrade. We'll need at least 2 of those to complete the game, so definitely a good find.
I believe now it's going to be time for... Where can Data go at this point that would be a high volume of items? Well, Data's going to head over here up to Death Mountain. Logically, 1 item is available to us at this point, but he's going to do the sequence break and get this second item.
And you'll also be able to get a hint up here as well, inside Spectacle.
What's this hint stuff you're speaking of?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Rick. In version 30, all of the telepathic tiles that are in the game in the vanilla version, which normally you talk to them and Sashrala will give you some sort of hint about the game. In version 30, they actually incorporated that with Randomizer, so you can get some information about where potential items could be, what locations might have items, and even some Zelda 1 tips, which won't help in the Randomizer, but can be fun little flavor text if you so desire to see that.
Get out of here.
Well, I'm here for the whole duration of this race. Sorry, I'm not getting out.
Well, darn it. We got an ether. It's chilly on the mountain today.
And there's also a bottle on top of Spectacle Rock, and inside Spectacle Rock, not even going to check what it is because we're running low on items now. We get the mushroom.
Mushroom, huh? All right, let's see what the hint is. The hint says that a unique item is in Turtle Rock. Of course it is. Now, what do we mean by unique items, Slim?
Unique items are basically items that there's only exists 1 of in the game. So in that case, it'd be your Y items, your A items, and even the single arrow, because that is the only single arrow in the game. So essentially, we know that there is going to be a unique item in Turtle Rock. It could be something we need, a useful item like the mirror, just to name one off the top of our head. It could be a fetch quest item like the shovel, or it could be, again, that single arrow. But looking at the mushroom check-in, just 100 rupees, so going to do a soft reset on that. It looks like Akina is our only option left at this point.
It's not.
It's not?
No, don't forget, Data World did not go through Eastern.
That's true. Yeah, we do have Eastern as well. That's right.
But we're going to head over here, see what's on the ledge. Ledge has... Well, there's our second sword upgrade. We've got that now taken care of.
Unfortunately, we can't quite get that just yet. Still need some more items to make that possible.
We're hoping to see what would pop up in short order here, hopefully. For data, there's our Moon Pearl. So Agena had the goods. Eastern's not going to be touched for now. It's time to go visit the Dark World and see what treasures are inside, including the Village of Outcast and Thieves Town, both which can be beat.
Ooh,
Swing and a miss. That Dead Rock did not play nice. Come on now. Take me away. Take me to 3.
Dead Rock playing some strong defense today.
Defense. Defense.
Yeah, it is really nice that he did find the Moon Pearl at Agena, because like you said, we avoided the dip into Eastern, which means later on, if we happen to find the bow, we can actually do Eastern in one dip as opposed to going there now and then coming back later. So it is nice that he avoided that for the time being.
Well, of course, that's sparing the whether or not we actually have to do Eastern. That is a Penda dungeon. There's our map check.
That was quite a fast map check. I'm just going to say that right now.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. We have hundreds of eyes in chat that are keeping an eye on that map, and they'll give us the details of what that map said. We know that we're in a crystal dungeon, though.
Yes, we know that at the very least. Looks like we do have a 5/6 crystal in Swamp Palace and Misery Mire, and our green pendant is going to be in Thieves Town.
And there's a mirror in Skull Woods.
Ooh.
Key. Well, that's something, I guess. Finding that mirror is nice for routing purposes here in the Dark World, so it's definitely good the Data World was able to pull that out.
Yeah, one of the worst things that can happen is much later on in the run, you get the mirror and you have all these little one-off locations that you need to just kind of keep checking. Looks like we have the Cane of Burna on top of Bumper Ledge there.
Yeah, I don't see we're grabbing that at all this run.
Yeah, especially considering you need the cape to get that, and it's like, well, I have an item that already does that by that point anyway, so may not need to worry about it.
10 arrows found for Data World. We find way too many 10 arrows. Of course, that's what happens when you end up taking away the upgrades and put them back into the Fountain of Happiness.
Looks like a piece of heart was our item inside the chess game, and yeah, as you mentioned, the upgrades, the arrow and bomb upgrades, were put back in their vanilla spot. That is a new change for version 30. Honestly, I do kind of like the change, because it is actually pretty, I think, a lot more helpful, because the 3 bombs gets added back to the pool, and that means a higher chance that you can find bombs before you kind of get to the Kakariko area. So it is kind of nice to have that, you know, almost guarantee.
Yeah, this being a rare exception of not getting that guarantee.
Mm-hmm. And see, this way, if you do, for some reason, want to have those capacity upgrades, if you have a lot of rupees, you can stop by the Waterfall of Wishing and purchase them if you so desire.
So what do you think is going to be that unique item inside a Turtle Rock?
Well, we found the single arrow, so that's good. That's not something we have to worry about at this point. I'm gonna say Swamp Palace is on the agenda. I'm gonna say that the hookshot is gonna be that unique item in Turtle Rock. And it's actually kind of interesting. We are actually just amidst away from being able to access Turtle Rock, potentially, if we have the right medallion.
Yeah, that would be exactly one of those interesting games that would require you to go into Turtle Rock early. I'd love to have a nice double dip of Turtle Rock too while we're at it.
Well, hey, that hook shot could lead to, like, the fire rod or something, so it would make that Turtle Rock a double dip. Ooh, get an interesting hint right there. Another unique item.
Where is it?
It is going to be behind a big red bomb, and the only two items that are blocked behind a big red bomb are the Pyramid Fairy items.
Well, let's take a look at that then. What are our 5, 6, Swamp, and Misery Mire, you said?
That is correct.
Well, we know that can't be the hook shot.
Right.
There's a single arrow.
Oh, I just realized the single arrow I saw earlier was the one in the chess game. That's not... Okay, that makes sense.
Slim has foresight. Don't let him tell you otherwise.
A nice magic drop for Data World right there. I imagine blind's not going to be too much of an issue, though. We are on red mail at this point, and we have a bunch of different items we can use against blind if we so choose. Anyway, let's see how this blind fight is going to be for Data World. Looks like he's going to be trying to do this on the sequence here before blind moves down to the bottom part of the room.
Easy to do this with a sword in your hand.
Very
Beautiful
nice.
Fight. Beautiful fight for Data World. And what do we get from blind? We get a piece of paper. Why does blind need a map?
I don't know. Maybe. Well, I mean, maybe it's a braille map. Maybe because he can. That's how he kind of finds his way home, I guess. Anyway, we didn't really get much from Thieves Town, but we did get that one hint, though, and that hint could play a big factor in how Data World kind of decides to route the next part of his run, because he does know there is that unique item in the Pyramid Fairy.
We're still looking for the Titan's Mitt. We're still looking for the bow. The hookshot's still out. And the fire rod will also be needed for our runners. Boots may be required. We don't know for certain. But the next step for Data World is going to be the digging game, where 1 through 30 will be the item. Won't be 1 this time around.
I'm going to say 10. I'm wrong.
Hi, wrong.
It's a
300 rupees, the reward for the ticking game this time around.
nice big refund. And then some.
Still looking for something to pop up on the right-hand side, but still nothing. Meanwhile, we find a 20 rupee over on the data world side.
Okay, checking old Stumpy here in the clearing. Just get another red rupee. It looks like our next check is going to be the Hype Cave, a cave that has 5 items we can check. Sword being one of them.
Why do we need another sword for? We know where the sword in desert is.
Well, hey, if we get a mitts or boots, we can, or not boots, a book, we could get a third one. And honestly, tempered sword, Ganon, way better than master sword. That'd be a reason I'd consider getting it.
We're about to get a hobo check.
What is the king of the campfire going to have for us today? We have just 10 arrows.
Heading on over towards the pyramid. Slim, take it away.
Okay, let's see what item we're going to have today. This item was available pretty much the moment we had that Dark World access, so this could be what we've been needing this whole time. Or just another 20 bucks that we're not going to be picking up whatsoever. So after grabbing the pyramid item, we're going to be heading over to probably one of the more long out-of-the-way locations in the form of the catfish check.
Yeah, catfish is one of those fun and fantastic trips that you love to take because, you know, you get over here, you find out that he has nothing, you feel like you just wasted a good minute or so of your time. But then you don't check him, and he has something important, the next thing that you need in this game. And then, well, you feel like you're behind.
Well, Rick, what's the item going to be today?
Hello!
Whoa, Fire Rod!
I would say that's kind of important. Now, here's the question. Did we see both items in Skull Woods? I think we only saw the one, which was the mirror.
I don't think we saw the other one, because I think right after he got that key, he actually left and started checking some other stuff, so I think the mirror is the only thing we found there. But you know, we do have that mirror, which we did get at Skull Woods, and we can actually do quite a bit more on Death Mountain now.
Yeah, that's right. We do have the mirror, so we do have access to the east side. We do also have the ability to get into the Tower of Hera and full clear it. Now, obviously, you don't want to have to go down into the basement of the Tower of Hera, but if you have to, now you have a fire source to help you out.
Mm-hmm. May have been the reason why he was kind of hesitant of going back up here right away. Also, was the benefit of checking some of those out-of-the-way locations, as we talked about earlier.
And the good thing is that Data can get a couple of hints in here by way of the telepathic tiles. So the first telepathic tile is compass and map the west wing of Swamp Palace.
Quite a nice hint to get. I mean, obviously we don't need those items, but in knowing that, that means we can actually skip those locations. So, you know, that's the good thing about hints, is not only will it tell you where items are, it can also tell you where certain items you don't need are, so you can skip them for later.
Yeah, so if either of these runners end up heading over towards the west side of Swamp, well, unfortunately, that will turn out to be quite a time sink that they don't need to do and they didn't have to do if they read their hints.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Fire Rod is held with the fishes. All right, well, the other thing about the hints is that if you get a hint like that, then you don't feel like you have as much of an advantage over your opponent that you did before you ended up finding that fire rod.
That is true. It will give your opponent essentially the knowledge that you found that you thought was super advantageous. But at the same time, like, that would also assume that he had to come up here without fire rod to read that hint. And if he did read that hint, and there is an item in the basement, that's going to be a location that's going to weigh on his mind.
And you can tell that Data World has done his NMG training because of the way he dispatched to the Beetle Room earlier and the way that he dispatched to this Moldorm. Unfortunately, though, Moldorm drops the map, so guess what, Slim?
Well, if our runners want to get everything out of Tower of Hera, there is an item in the basement. So, good thing he picked up that fire rod before coming up here.
It's just the way of the game telling you a nice little hint of, hey, you want that second item? Well, here's where you can get a fire source, buddy.
It is really interesting because I feel like in a lot of cases, the hints do kind of, in a strange way, lead you on the path through a seed. So sometimes they can give you like just the information you need to kind of progress to the next step or through a future step. So it is kind of crazy how that works out.
Nice use of the fire rod right there to hit the switch in order to get the blocks to get himself the cutscene percent, I guess, or what they call the coffee break. WillardJBradley's been on probably... I don't want to say he's been on the coffee break because this is not necessarily something that he wants to have happen. He's been having some issues with the stream. Hopefully we can connect to him when the next cycle comes around. Alright, this item in the Tower of Hera basement is, oof, a piece of heart.
Yeah, not really what you want to see after going through that tile room cutscene, but, you know, gotta roll with the punches sometimes. You know, at least you know what's there. Potentially your opponent probably checked it. It didn't say the item in Hera basement is a piece of heart. It just said, okay, this is where the fire rod is. So, opponent probably checked it too.
Alright, time to go do the slow version of the Spiral Cave. We like to call this the resident sleeper movement when you have to go through here the slow way.
Sometimes it might give you just that item you're looking for, like the lamp.
Hey! There's a lamp. So Data World now has both of the fire sources, does not have to worry about the dark rooms at all.
Yeah, and I imagine someone with Data World skill could more than likely do dark rooms without any issue whatsoever, but still, it does save quite a bit of time just not having to navigate those dark rooms.
It's always nice when you can pick that up, as Data World now going into what we call the Paradox Cave. 7 items total inside of this, and the first 2 are half a heart.
I wonder if the other heart is going to be upstairs, because we have 5 more chests in this room.
Using a lot of bombs in order to knock off the mini Mordorms and hit the switch, but he gets a replenishment of 3. There's a full heart, and then there's 1 more piece of heart. So 1 3/4 hearts there, Slim.
Well, hey, he did give us 1 heart at the very least. But anyway, you know, aside from the lamp, and even then, like, that didn't necessarily progress Data World on his current path. Didn't really get a whole lot from Death Mountain, and even got a pendant as well, which is not what we're looking for this this Ganon defeat Ganon seed.
Oh, that's correct. So I would have to assume that at some point in time we'll see Data World connect the breadcrumbs. I would have assumed at this point you'd go see what the Fire Rod can yield you over in Skull Woods, but that's not where Data World is heading. Instead, we're heading over to the Palace of Darkness and Eastern combo.
I can kind of understand the play a little bit because, you know, it is just 1 item locked behind that Fire Rod, potentially, and he didn't even check the big key chest either, so at this point, like, Palace of Darkness, and even if he wants to take a step into Eastern, that's also available to him. So I can understand this play as well.
Well, he's also going to trade in the green pendant, which he picked up in Thieves Town. And inside of Thieves Town's green pendant, it yields 10 arrows. What a great find.
Just makes me wonder if how many of those we found, because we've found a lot of them at this point.
Always seems like there are a lot because of the added pool now. And being patient, making his way around all those wiggly little enemies there.
And into the Palace of Darkness we go. Thankfully, we have the mirror to make navigation a bit quicker through here. And we also have the lamp, so if we get to those dark rooms, we can actually see what's going on in there without too much difficulty.
Well, we get a key in the first chest, so therefore we can continue to do a little bit more inside of this Palace of Darkness. I'm wondering if Data World picked up that bottle so he could maybe use it in case he needed to for the bottle glitch.
That is something to consider as well. Yeah, basically allows us to get those 2 chests.
Hey, there's progression right there with the Titan's bit.
Progression indeed, and you know, that does put Turtle Rock within logic, assuming again we have the right medallion for that.
That also means, based on that Titan's mid placement, that the bow could be in Misery Mire. It could be a nice palace. It could be. I didn't get to see that hint. I did not get to see that hint. Slim, you're laughing. Why are you laughing?
The hook shot is in Turtle Rock.
Why are you laughing at that?
Because that's what I called earlier.
Oh, we are having the bottle glitch right there from Data World. He just sets it up by using his bottle. He scrolls over to the side there, and now he's going to move these mimics over to the left side. And there, the game thinks that room has been cleared. Great job for Data World.
Yeah, very nicely done.
Gets the big key, and over here, a small key. So he does pick up a couple of keys for that effort. What I was going to say is that because we found the mitts where we did, that means the bow can still be in logic to be in somewhere that's tight and mitts blocked.
That's true. Because one thing you got to consider, especially with the hint system, is the hookshot is considered a unique item. So it could be the unique item we saw earlier for Turtle Rock could be referring to the hookshot, but that doesn't mean that there can't be other unique items in there. So it doesn't necessarily mean the unique item was talking about the hookshot. It's a possibility, but yeah, there's still potential for stuff in there. There are 5 items in Turtle Rock after all, and we can get them all at this point.
Slim, you're a unique item.
Thank you? I've never been called a unique item before.
We're just going to put you in Turtle Rock and hide you in there now.
Okay, that's fair.
We know that the bow cannot be in the big chest here. And I think, key logically, we could get to the bow if it was here in the Palace of Darkness. However, it turns out not to be the case. Everything else is either going to be key blocked, or, again, this here is going to be a sequence break because this is behind the bow by logic. And it's just the compass.
So I'm actually curious to what DataWorld's going to do right here, because
Eastern. No!
I don't think so, because he can access potential to unlock Turtle Rock right now. He knows the hookshot's there. He can complete it. It is a crystal dungeon, and that'll give him Swamp full completion access, which has more items. So, and you know, we can even access Desert Palace right now too.
Nah, DataWorld is going to find out that the Quake is required to get into Turtle Rock.
That will halt his progress for sure.
Otherwise, he can get 2 items by way of the Super Bunny Cave, and also maybe a 3rd item if he chooses to use up some life, but he probably isn't going to do Spike Cave just yet.
Yeah, I think he's definitely thinking more item density and volume right now, and he can come back for Spike Cave later.
He's definitely
of course.
Shot.
It's an item you will definitely need. It unlocks a lot of other locations. I do not blame him for making this call.
It unlocks 6 items inside Swamp Palace. Well, not necessarily 6, but you can get yourself to the whereabouts of, what is it, 4 of the items that are in Swamp Palace at that point?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because we know that the map and the compass are on the left-hand side of the swamp, so nobody's going to have to go in that direction. And it turns out that Quake is Turtle Rock's medallion, but now we're going to find it in the Super Bunny Cave.
Okay, so it's going to put a halt on his plans, but at least we have that information now, too.
If this is anything like V29 back in the day, you'd always find the medallion just around the corner. That's 10 arrows. That's a red rupee. Okay, so that's not it.
And he is not going to worry about Spike Cave right now, which I guess makes sense. Doesn't have any of those invincibility items. So, probably for the best. And I don't think he had enough hearts to even do it either.
Yeah, he doesn't. Definitely doesn't.
Okay, so probably Desert, go back in the Skull Woods. We even have the Blacksmith quest available now too, so there are some options we have.
Misery Mire still open up and accessible to us at this point. We can't get inside the dungeon itself, but we can get inside the shed and also checkerboard, which means we can also get ourselves towards Desert Palace as well. As one of those skulls there decides to black DataWorld, makes him have to walk around. That evil skull right there.
You know, in talking about Desert Palace, there is the potential for the boots to come into play as well. So that is also something to consider.
So 15 minutes in, almost, DataWorld making way back into Skull Woods. One item remains in here. We already saw the first item earlier by way of the mirror, so we know we're not going to find that here. We're going to find only one item here. There's the big key in the vanilla location.
And it looks like he's going to continue on, come back for the big chest on his way back.
Yeah, you might as well, because if you are going to do the quest stuff there, the fetch quest stuff or the breadsmith stuff, you're going to want to check that the last of the remaining locations here. The idea now is to see if Moldorm has it. If he doesn't, you're going to check this chest that's on the bottom of this room. And if that's not there, then it's in the big key chest. Or the big chest, rather.
I didn't know Moldorm was in Skullwoods.
Mothula.
It happens.
This might be Randomizer, Slim. We didn't know that. We decided to vary up the modes today.
Okay.
Like, for instance, for doing one stream at this point, forgive me. Tried to set up a double hit on that Mothula. Unfortunately, could not get that off in time. Being extra patient here. There we go. Beautiful fight against Mothula. Yeah, that turns out to just be a piece of heart. That is the second item. No worries now. Don't have to go to any of those two other chests inside of the Skull Woods. Dataworld picks up his second pendant, or rather second crystal, to go with the two pendants he already has.
Isn't that only his first crystal?
Okay, fine. It's his first crystal. Sue me. I can add 1, 2.
Oh, it's fine, because he's going to get his second crystal now, because he's going to Ice Palace. Maybe you were just so excited to go into Ice Palace that you just kind of got ahead of yourself.
This is the only option that Dataworld has available to him at this point.
Hey, we have some more hints, and that's another item location we can cross off the list. Just some cash on the purple chest, so
Data?
Don't need to get them.
You need that key first before you can go downstairs. But yeah, that's definitely good to know that you don't have to worry about the purple chest at all.
Yeah, because when it comes to the blacksmith side quests that are involved with that chain, like, I'd rather do the blacksmith over the purple chest, just because you don't have to walk very far.
Yeah, it's definitely a time saver. Fairy in a bottle, that is item number 1 of Ice Palace. We are slowly running out of locations to get to, but we still have plenty of locations to get to, if you know what I mean. It's like the places that we have are becoming more and more scattered.
Yeah, pretty much. And, you know, we have Desert Palace. We may not be able to complete it depending on boots, but there could be an item in there. And Eastern Palace is still on the agenda. We have not seen anything in that dungeon yet.
Well, unique item is in Spiral Cave. We already grabbed it. That was the lamp.
Yes, it was.
Dataworld having to reset the block because he actually triggered the block switch to go down. And then the Ice Palace bomb jump right there. Does not get himself set up at the right time. He was trying to adjust himself while the bomb was going off and had himself too far down. Got it that third try. So depending on key layout, Quake could very well be in this dungeon.
It could very well still be in Eastern Palace, too.
Yeah, what if that is there and WillardJBradley picked that up early and had access to the hookshot all this time?
I mean, that would definitely be a huge advantage in his court for sure.
Just a piece of heart. That is item number 2 inside of Ice Palace, and Data World now making his way downstairs. And I'm thinking at this point we are starting to get into that point where if the Quake was going to be here, it's got to have a lot of things happen in order for it to happen. I don't see it happening at this point.
Yeah, and I think Data World's feeling the same way, going straight for Cold Stare at the bottom here.
Yeah, interesting decision to go right straight to Cold Stare, but, you know, maybe sometimes you don't want to get yourself too deep inside of these... Oh, no!
Ooh.
He didn't have enough magic! Oh, that's bad. That's painful. And the thing is, he had Bombo, so he could have maybe done it, but he had realized that way too late.
Yeah, oh, that's unfortunate.
So time to adjust his plans. He's heading over towards the desert area.
Well, this will give us some new information. We have not seen anything over here. Although, I guess to be fair, anything we get is new information.
Well, we find out the ether is going to be required to get inside Misery Mire. Can't get in there right now. We need either the boots or the hookshot. We know where the hookshot is. It's in Quake Block Turtle Rock. And there it is.
Well, we found Quake at the very least. Oh.
Hey, we have a Willard.
Is Willard the skeleton?
We actually have a Willard on our screen. He's
like
in Ice Palace.
Yeah, he's in Ice Palace right now.
He does not have the hookshot yet.
He does have the medallions, though.
He does have the Quake, though.
And he has also, a tempered sword as well.
Yes, he does. We'll also go ahead and figure out what else we have just yet. But because he has Quake, we know he made his way over to the desert to get that tempered sword. And Data World's making his way over towards Turtle Rock right now. WillardJBradley gets a key, so that means the Can Samaria was required by Logic in order to beat the Ice Palace. Gets the crystal to fall down, and that gives Willard X amount of crystals. We don't know exactly what just yet.
Oh, that's true. As chat's reminding us, there is a sword upgrade on the Desert Ledge, so that may have been the sword advantage that Willard has right now.
Willard doesn't have the fire rod yet.
Ooh.
So he was doing that just based on bombos alone. So Willard's heading up to the mountain. If he goes into Tower of Hera, and that's Willard's first crystal.
Interesting.
If Willard goes into the Tower of Hera now, then he will get that hint about the fire rod being in there. But it does look like he does have the red mail on, based on the little red pants we see from Homer.
Yeah, Data World, using the knowledge we know that Hookshot is inside Turtle Rock, is going into Turtle Rock. Now, I do want to review something really quick. We do have another hint from earlier. There is also a unique item inside the Pyramid Fairy. And at that point, this could be a case where that item that's in Pyramid Fairy could be the bow. And depending on the boots requirements of Desert, that could be our go mode.
That's right. We don't know about the desert. We haven't really explored that just yet. Interesting decision for Data not to pick up the tempered sword.
Yeah, that is an interesting decision. He will definitely be back at Desert later, regardless, but it would definitely make the Trinex fight a lot easier if he had that.
Yep, Willard also does have the silvers, as you can see, based on the arrows on the top that are colored in the silver or grayish or whitish color, whatever you want to call it. Data going through here, taking the long way around on the merry-go-round. Willard checking the hint. The hint says the Dig Dogger hates some certain kind of sound. Thank you for the Zelda 1 reference. There's the big key. There's a small key.
Now I know you play a lot of Zelda 1, Rick. Is that accurate information? Like, does it hate sound?
In order to beat that Dig Dogger, you got to use the recorder in that game, or the recorder in that game.
Okay, so it is a good hint, just not for this game. Okay, got it.
Yeah, Willard does not have the fire rod, so he's going to be very limited on how far he can go in this dungeon.
Well,
he may not get to the hook shot.
That's true. He won't be able to complete it. That's for sure. And he'll have to double dip this dungeon at this point.
Yeah, because there's a key and a small key. There's the boots.
Okay, so that actually could be referring to the unique item in Turtle Rock hint that we got earlier, because there will always be one hint that will allude to where the boots are going to end up being. So that could be the boots hint.
And Willard bows out. He can't get the remainder of the keys here to continue on, so he will not get the hook shot. So he's going to go inside the hook shot cave and do the bonk to find 20 rupees. Nope. And Willard now making his way over towards what appears to be the Tower of Hera. And if he gets inside there, he will find out about the fire rod hint. And that will be a huge hint for him to get. We find bombs inside of the center chest here, the big key chest of Turtle Rock. We know the hookshot is in here by way of hint. Willard's been in here before.
That's interesting, because I wonder if he came up here. Would it be possible he came up here without a weapon of some kind? I don't think so.
Maybe. Well,
no, because hammer would have been before the mirror.
Oh, right, yeah.
He didn't get this far, though.
Yeah, and this is where the hint is. Fire rod is held with the fishes, and there's the big information for Willard. So now he knows. Now he knows what he needs to do to get that fire rod.
And there's the hook shots.
The hook shot inside of the big chest of Turtle Rock. So Data now just a bow away from go mode. Now, what can be considered a unique item that may not be the bow that's at that Pyramid Fairy?
Really anything at this light. Well, not anything, obviously, but it could be the bow. I think it can be the other boomerang. The powder, shovel, book, and cape. It can't be Burna because we know that's on Bumper Ledge, and it could also be the net as well.
And we already saw the single arrow, so we know it's not that. So Willard's about to go pick up his fire rod, but his routing through here is not going to make him feel happy, because he's going to have to double back to Turtle Rock at this point. And Data, we know he's going to have to double back over to Ice Palace. He's got to finish that off. And we find ourselves the key in that first chest. Data's going to still check because we got some other things to do. Willard about to go grab his fire rod. There's some bombs for Data. There's the map. I'll have to go visit Trinex. WillardJBradley picks up his fire rod, and he's now moving.
Yeah, I think he's going to go right back to Turtle Rock because he knows that hook shot's in there, and, you know, probably feels behind after having to do that.
Yeah, but at least this was a case where this Turtle Rock didn't send him all the way towards near the end before it gave him any sort of block regarding the fire rod.
Yeah, very true.
So at least there is that, as dataworld faces off against the Trinex fight, and this is where his decision not to go grab the tempered will come into play just a little bit, but he's doing a good job with the hammer strats. He's going to switch on over, use the sword strats, because he obviously, when Trinex is exploding, you can't switch your weapon. There we go. Beautiful job with the Trinex as WillardJBradley back into Turtle Rock. He must know that that hookshot is there.
Yeah, I think at this point, more than likely.
Oh, marvelous fight for dataworld against Trinex. Got 4 hits on him before he got to the bottom left corner.
Really, really good.
And get some bombs for the effort. And now, if I'm dataworld, I'm checking the hookshot cave. And then I've got a bunch of other things I got to go clear up, but let's find out what that unique item is that you get from the Pyramid Fairy. Maybe that's your next decision.
Yeah, at this point, I'd say that'd be a good mindset to be in, because you have those 2 dungeons by themselves. If they're not in there, you know you have the Pyramid Fairy to look forward to. And, you know, it just makes sense to kind of approach it in that order.
Guess the 20 rupees that we already saw from Willard. Now, let's see what the other 3 are. 20 rupees over here. The tempered sword, so that butter sword's not going to be touched now. And a single rupee.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot different between tempered and gold swords, so I think dataworld would be fine with just the tempered for the rest of this. Maybe save a few seconds by not picking it up.
Yeah, because he's already got silver arrows, so there's really just no distinct advantage at this point. Dataworld looks like he's going to be doing Swamp next. That's one of your 5-6.
It is, and it's also got 6 items, and, you know, we know that the left side we can get by without checking that, so, you know, it's a pretty linear path, and don't have to worry about double backing too much, and even if you do, it's just for the big chest, and that's not too bad, so if he finds the bow here, that's great. He knows he can go mode the rest of the dungeons and be fine at this point.
That is our biggest question at this point. Where can the bow be? I can tell you one place that it cannot be, Slim. The pedestal.
Yep, it can definitely not be there. Eastern Palace is a pendant. We need 3 pendants to get the pedestal, and, well, we need the bow for Eastern, so yeah.
And we're not even going to go touch that hint here as Dataworld now makes his way, gets the key out of the chest, 6 items inside of this Swamp Palace, and he's going to be checking every single one until he gets the bow or gets to Argus.
Get a piece of heart from the first chest.
This is standard mode. This is not Randomizer. So in this mode, you definitely need that bow. By the way, did Data check Mimic Cave?
I don't think he did.
He did not. Oh my gosh. What if the bow is in here?
Well, if it does, that is a pretty significant advantage for Willard, because once he gets that hook shots, you know, he knows he'd be in go mode at that point, and he'd be able to just skip all of what Dataworld's doing right now.
But it turns out just to be cash.
It is fun to kind of run through those scenarios, though, so...
Well, it is, because that's a decision that could make or break a race. It really could be. We do find out that Willard picks up the hook shot, and 5 rupees are here south of the big chest. At this point, you're hoping that the big chest is... the key is locked inside of that big chest, because you don't want to have to double back to it.
Yeah, definitely. And again, as we discussed at the very beginning of this race, this is a race between dataworld, WillardJBradley, both at the top of the group they're in, the top seeds of the group, and are currently undefeated. WillardJBradley 6-0, dataworld 5-0. They've done more than a third of their matches, and you know they're vying for that top spot, I imagine. So, very good work from both runners as we get the shovel inside Swamp Palace.
Great place for that.
So yeah, after this run, one of our undefeated runners will no longer be undefeated.
And the fun thing is, these two are going to have to face off against each other 2 more times.
That's true, and it could be a case where they both stop being undefeated after this series. They both might take a game off of each other.
Yeah, this is Data's set against WillardJBradley. This is his pick, right?
Yes, he is the higher seed, so he gets the game 1 pick, and game 2 will be chosen by Willard.
Oh, beautiful attack there for dataworld. Just missed him on the 0 cycle. Oh, beautiful. That's NMG strats right there for dataworld. Phenomenally done. Gets the big key. Will he check that chest? Oh, gosh. Slim, would you check that chest if you were in this position?
I might, considering the fact that, you know, dataworld did go into Ice Palace and had to leave before even finishing it. But he's going for it. You know, I can definitely understand this too. He knows there's a unique item inside the Pyramid Fairy. If that's the bow, then he's probably feeling in a good position, but he is going back to ice.
Not just that, Slim, but the fact that he lost the time that he's got to go back here into Ice Palace. So this is something that dataworld wants to maybe squeeze a few extra seconds. Save those seconds because he lost that much time here by having to go back inside of Ice Palace. He ended up losing the magic required to kill Cold Stare, had the mirror out, and that's why he's back in here again. And this is painful if you are dataworld because you know this is time you left on the table.
Very true, very true.
Buttersword pickup for WillardJBradley. He will mirror out of here, and let's see where WillardJBradley's next stop is going to be. He probably will do Swamp next as well.
I imagine so. He's probably also thinking, Buttersword.
Buttersword's not donuts.
He says to a lot of things.
Fair enough. Like, if I'm in dataworld's shoes right now, I'm feeling behind because of that. Because you're up against a runner like WillardJBradley. You know what WillardJBradley is capable of. You know exactly what he can do. He is one of the better runners of this. You are a good runner yourself, but you just gave up time to somebody who may be just equal to you, if not better.
Right. And he has no idea that, you know, Willard technically did the same thing when he had to kind of double back down for the fire rod.
Yeah, and he still has to go through and finish off against Mothula, which will not be a long fight at all. It's just, the question is where is this bow and when will one of these two runners find it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that definitely was not a hint. Something about the ghost wanting you to guess its name? Nope, that's not going to help out at all.
Again, maybe in other scenarios, but definitely not this one.
So we know that a unique item is on the Pyramid Fairy. We know that the left side of Swamp contains absolute nothing. It's got the map and the compass. So there's no reason to head on over towards that left side. We are still trying to figure out what that unique item is, but we still have several possibilities. We know it can't be the Cane of Burno. We saw that at the not the Spike Cave, the Bumper Cave.
Bumper Cave, yes. Anyway, that was a very sweet revenge kill from dataworld.
Yeah,
ripping Cold Stare apart.
That had revenge written all over it. And now dataworld at this point, I'd have to assume Misery Mire Desert Palace the next stop.
Yeah, I'd definitely say so as well. They're both crystals. We have to do them. Mire's the other 5/6 crystal we need. I feel like the way dataworld's routing this is he's routing this in a way where after he checks the Pyramid Fairy, he can go straight over to Pod and just go from there.
Data, so he is going to pick up the butter sword. Well, you just invested the time to go to look at it. You might as well grab it at that point. We did see the 100 rupees, so we know that even though if that was considered a unique item, that it can't be that.
No, it's not considered one, just because all the other rupee amounts are considered to be some cash. So
boots were required.
They were.
Unique item is above the pose.
We have not seen that yet.
No, we haven't. Data is just flying through this. He's not going to even check those chests over there. He wants to get confirmation on these hints. WillardJBradley making his way through Swamp. He, at this point, I would have to peg him as behind, but this is one of those cases where Willard has been trying to fix his stream while trying to play this game, so that also could be causing some of the issues that we are seeing between, or rather some of the behind aspect that we're seeing from Willard, but we don't know exactly what he's checked besides the few checks that we've seen on screen.
For example, Willard does have the cape right now. That is an item that Data does not have, so that could be the unique item that's on the graveyard ledge, for all we know.
Oh, it could very well be. Lamb all the time for Data. Beautiful Argus kill for WillardJBradley. Didn't zero cycle him as well, was a little further behind. We'll see if he goes back in with that big key in hand. Oh, that's annihilation of those Lamolets. You had the butter sword, that's going to do it. 3 bombs, that's item number 1 of Desert. And dataworld has finished off, and he is now down to 2 crystals left to acquire. He's about to go pick up crystal number 6 by going into Misery Mire. And Data is going, WillardJBradley is going back into Swamp. If this is the bow in this big chest, that's a game, set, and match. Okay, fine, that's just game, not set and match, because they got 2 more matches between each other.
And even then, you also got to consider that's only his 3rd crystal, and given he doesn't have like very long dungeons remaining or anything, it would really. Oh my god! Oh boy!
He's in go mode.
He is in go mode right now. That changes everything.
And it's going to take Data forever to get back there. That's a gamble that dataworld is going to regret.
And again, he's going through Mire right now. I imagine he's going to check Pyramid Fairy, maybe even Graveyard Ledge after this. He's gotten all the items in Pod so far. There's Eastern available. He might go to Eastern, that could be a thing, but you got to think, if it's in Eastern, like, your opponent had to have gotten that a long time ago. So, you know, he has to go back for all those stuff he left behind, and you know, maybe Swamp would be the first one that could still make this interesting, but it's definitely looking very good for Willard right now.
And this is a guide Meyer too, so WillardJBradley's going to go right straight to Vitreous.
Right.
Shield. That's item 1. And Data's not going to gamble. He's going to gamble on the second item, and he's going to Vitreous now. Wow, Slim. Wow. The twists, the turns. And you had the feeling the way the Data was going and skipping over some things that it could very well be something that he skips that turns out to be the the fatal blow to his undefeated record. And that's just unbelievable. The fact that it was that one big chest that you now had to double back and get, and Swamp had the bow inside of it.
Yeah, really. And, you know, I can understand his thinking because he doesn't have a whole lot of unique items left. So, you know, he probably felt good about his chances of getting it in either Pyramid Fairy or above the graveyard. But, you know, it's always a risk when you skip locations. It's always a risk.
And WillardJBradley about ready to face off against Vitreous. Silver arrows. This will not be a problematic fight whatsoever. But he's just going to use the sword because he wants to preserve those arrows for later. And same thing for Data. It's going to have to be careful. 3.5 hearts. Do not want to take a death here. It's going to have to wait out the cycle. Down to 2.5 hearts. That eyeball is not playing nice. There we go. Get over to the corner. This is time that Data's going to lose to WillardJBradley, even regardless of what's going on. And don't forget, Data does not have the silver arrows either, so he's got to kill him the harder way. WillardJBradley making his way over to the desert has to finish that off. He still has to make his way over to Skull Woods. Data is going to probably check out the Pyramid Fairy, see what those unique items is, and wouldn't this be a big pain if that unique item is the book, Slim?
Yeah, it would be. It would give 2 more items to add to his checks, and it would not be a good find, that's for sure.
Yeah, because then he would go chase after the book there, at least check those 2. We know that the pedestal is dead because the bow is all we're looking for. That's 20 rupees right there. Data World's going to flute to 4, likely, and go and get the pyramid bomb. Just a reminder for people just tuning in, Data World ended up running out of magic against Cold Stare. Had to mirror out and redo the dungeon. That resulted in perhaps Data World playing like he is behind. And has been taking some gambles ever since. Didn't check Mimic Cave. Did not check the big chest. And as such, we are seeing him leave behind a very important item inside Swamp Palace. This is WillardJBradley. This is no longer the normal cutscene.
Well, not all the torches are lit, so I don't think we're even quite in the cutscene yet.
He just wanted us to stare at Homer's shiny head.
It is a very shiny head. Also very yellow.
Bombs. and half magic. Well, that's not the book, at least, but not what you wanted to see for that effort. Data World's likely going to now flute to 3 and check to see what that unique item is north of the pose.
And you know, something else that we haven't seen, this could also turn into checking the blacksmith as well.
So Data World checking to see what's here. And you're thinking that this is the cape because it's something that Willard picked up.
Yeah, we've got that. We've had that mirror for a long time, and you know, this was definitely a location Data World kind of skipped. It's the net.
Oh, nope.
Maybe maybe the cape's in the Eastern or something. And you know what else we have? We also have boot locations too.
Yes, we do, Slim. Like for this one, for instance, which has just 5 rupees inside.
Now, thankfully, the blacksmith chain won't be as long as it could be, because we do know that the purple chest is just going to give us some cash, but still, you know, we're going to be checking the blacksmith. We're going to be also checking hammer pegs. We do have the mushrooms still on Data World's side, so we could have an instance of fake powder as well.
Oh, right, because he reset after grabbing the mushroom. So yeah, there's that as well. But we know these will not give him the item he is longing for.
And yeah, that's right. There's also that shovel too. Shovel spot's also in that area, so
there's also the case of Data World checking to see whether or not Aghanim is going to be required.
ooh, for his sake, I hope it's not the book.
Just a piece of heart. Where did Willard find the cape is going to be a good question we're going to ask. We're also going to have to ask, why is he letting us see Homer's bald head for this long?
I know Willard's a big fan of The Simpsons, so he just wants us to appreciate the artistic talents of Matt Groening.
All right, let's go free the breadsmith. We'll do the hammer pegs while we're at it. Just a piece of heart. And just a heart container there as well. So, Slim, if you're Data World, how long does it take for you to get back into How long does it take for you to get back into Swamp Palace?
It's really hard to say at this point, just because, like, again, he skipped a bunch of actual, like, single locations. He skipped Mimic Cave, he skipped the big chest in the swamp, he skipped an item in Ice Palace. There's the cape. So, you know, there are some locations that have slightly higher value. Like, even Eastern has more value than going back into Swamp does at this point.
So an update on WillardJBradley. It turns out that we have a power surge, which is why we lost WillardJBradley for the second time. So we'll give you updates as soon as we have them. Dataworld now going to buy some magic, get a replenishment. What else is left at this point? There's Eastern, but what else?
Let's see. Well, with that, we have a cape, so Spike Cave is also something else, and of course, I had to say that. It looks like that's where he's going next.
Yeah, that's why he bought the magic. He got the cape, so he's following these breadcrumbs.
Let's see, trying to think of what else we have. I mean, he also has, I think there's another item in Desert. At least there would be for him anyway.
I'm really hoping he doesn't go over to Mimic Cave to see what's inside there. That would be the worst decision. It's just a piece of heart.
And a save and quit. Where is he going to be off to next?
Look to 5. We are heading for Eastern.
Yes, we are. So, you know, we had an opportunity to come here twice earlier on in the game. First, when Data went to Sashra to check what he had, and then when Data World finished pot, he had a chance to go inside as well, but decided to flute away instead. Now, we know that the bow is not going to be in here. We know the bow is in the big chest in the Swamp Palace, but what is Data World going to find within Eastern?
We find a compass. Haven't you always wanted a compass?
Not really. Even key sanity modes, like, I know the item numbers anyway, so compass is just not something I'd be that interested in.
We get a big key. Haven't you always wanted a big key?
I'll take a big key. Big key is a little more helpful. It can get us an extra item or two in some dungeons.
How about a telepathic hint? Haven't you always wanted a telepathic hint?
Well, generally, yes. Unfortunately, I don't think Data
over it.
You might check it if he goes away all the way around.
He's got no reason to go all the way around. He's gonna probably do a save and quit once he gets to the last item or a mirror out.
We'll see.
Special thanks to Saunders316 for doing the clicking for this match. Had to be interesting when Willard popped up and had to figure out everything that he had. So special thanks to our tracker for this match.
Yeah, definitely. Things like this you can never predict. And, you know, doing a great job of keeping things up to date when we can, and that's always great to have trackers just to give us, you know, just a simplified answer to what exactly is going on in each race.
We flew to 4. This is going to be the salt-inducing check now for Data World. A lot of people still asking where that bow is. The bow is in the big chest of Swamp Palace. Data World and WillardJBradley got the big key off of Argus. We knew that the left side of Swamp had the map and the compass by a telepathic tile hint earlier. However, Data World on a gamble, because he ended up having to go back through Ice Palace again, and that probably cost him a good 4 minutes at that point. Well, he decided to skip it.
And this is why it is such a huge risk to skip locations, and why you see a lot of people kind of, when they're going through, if they're not being as aggressive. I know personally, as someone who does a lot of randomizer runs, it's kind of hard to determine whether or not I should start, you know, being more aggressive, and should I start checking less things. But, you know, it's scenarios like these that always kind of make me play more safe, because it's like, I don't want to leave a location like that behind and have to come back much later when I'm checking more convenient and higher volume locations. So it's one of those things you often struggle with when running these randomizers.
And time now to head on back over to the Palace of Darkness. Finish that off. Go mode for Data World. Something flies off my desk. Excuse me for just a moment.
No problem. Anyway, focusing on Data World, he is just one crystal away from having that Ganon's Tower access. He's already cleared out pretty much all of Pot at this point. The only item we have left is on Helmasaur King, and because of that, we have the small key we can use to get back there. We have the big key, we have the bow. We're going to be able to finish this very, very quickly, and then it'll be off to Ganon's Tower.
Time to head through here. And now, make our way over towards the final portion of this run.
Anyway, see a question in chat asking how Data World did get kind of so ahead at the very beginning of the run. He did actually have some very convenient and nice early game routing. Actually saved Kakariko for a bit later, which was, you know, basically allowing him to check other locations first. He was able to kind of run into that Dark World access that he needed, and I'm guessing in that case probably a bit before Willard did, and, you know, had clever utilization of the hint system as well. He knew where the hookshot was going to end up being. He had unique item hints throughout the seed. So he just kind of used those hints and just, you know, smart routing choices to an advantage. The big problem came when he went to Ice Palace. Unfortunately, was not able to finish it after running out of magic on the Cold Stare fight. Had to mirror out. And as a result of that, probably felt like he was quite a bit behind. So kind of made some more gambles here and there. Ended up skipping the big chest in Swamp Palace because of that, and as we found out, That was where the bow was located, an important item that he's been looking for a good amount of time throughout this seed. And that's pretty much the story of how this race has come to be.
And that is it for Data World. So normally at this point we would do a big key guessing game, but I think we'll opt not to, given the circumstances of this at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, Data World making his way over towards the Ganon's Tower, where normally we talk about 22 chests and various other things. But regardless of what happens here, we do know that WillardJBradley had locally recorded his content. So, this will become, at that point, an admin decision on regards to what ends up happening between WillardJBradley and Data World. One of these two remains undefeated. The other one will end up suffering their first loss, but these two still have to face off against each other 2 more times.
That's right, and you have to imagine with the way Data World has been playing, ignoring the whole bow in the chest that he skipped thing. Data World's had some excellent execution. He's shown some great routing decisions and just, clever routing on the fly based on hints and items he's collected. It's going to be a tough series for both runners. Like, they're going to be definitely fighting hard in these matches.
So, at this point, if I wanted to play along, I would say chest number 5.
I would probably say chest number 8.
We have somebody guessing -3. I'd like to see how you've come up with a -3 chest checked.
Getting a small key from the torch right away.
Hey, Sanctuary Heart.
Hey, Green Rupee. Hey, book.
There's the book.
Of course, at this point, we have all the items we need. We know Pedestal's not going to give us anything to help us complete this seed, so, not really helpful.
Right hand side, this is Dark Magician Strats.
So we're going to see what we can find inside the compass room.
And now I can report to you that technically on the IRC that Willard has reported that he is done with the race at 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 24 seconds. Data World's making its way up the stairs. We'll see how he finishes off this run, but right now, barring incomplete footage of a local record, WillardJBradley has won this race.
Mm-hmm. So at the very least, before that power surge happened, he was able to finish his run. So may have that complete recording, but again, that's not a question for right now. That'll be discussed later.
Yep. Once again, this is going to come down to discussions amongst admins and whatnot, and I'm not going to have any sort of discussion about that other than here. We'll see how far DataWorld can get as he makes his way through the gauntlet. Big thing that came down for Willard is the bow. The bow being in swamp. Data had a chance to take it if he ended up checking that one chest, but he took a gamble on it, left there, and that's where the tide turned.
I mean, yeah, that pretty much speaks volumes. Even with having kind of 2 crystal advantage on Willard at that point, just kind of isolating that bow in that one chest, it just wasn't enough time for Data to kind of double back and get that.
So while we're watching this final part, let's take a look at the schedule. What else we got going on today at this tournament, Slim?
Well, I can start discussing that with you. We have a lot of randomizer matches. I mean, we're not even halfway done with all the matches for this group stage of the tournament. So right away, you can be guaranteed there's going to be matches played every day for the next 3 weeks or so. So, you know, that's something you definitely have to look forward to.
So we got some great races coming up today.
Mm-hmm. In fact, it looks like at 6:30 p.m. on the main Speed Gaming channel, we have Solski versus WillardJBradley. Going to be doing a inverted swordless hard mode.
And that's going to be Solski's pick. Cyclone and Wolflink will be on the commentary for that. There will be two other races going on at 6:30. 3 other races that are going on at 6:30 that will not, unfortunately, get a restream. Zelda Descend, Dark Carries, Killer F23 versus McLagan, and Trender versus John Rosems. Next restream race after 6:30 comes up at 7:30 p.m. All Dungeons Inverted for Ninban versus Jay Meisher. It's hard mode.
And then 1 hour after that on this channel, the channel you guys are watching right now, we have an all dungeons open randomized normal mode between P-Train and Prior 57.
And also coming up at 8:30, we also have GFE versus Pika Pals, which is an randomizer. And Aghanim is down. Coming up at 9:30, we have Killing 92 versus John Rosems over on Speed Gaming. It's going to be another inverted. It's all dungeons and hard mode. Leslie Pro and Axial are going to be on the call for that. And then at 12:30 a.m., we finish our final race of the evening, Tadaru versus Chex Human. Chex Human's almost done with this tournament, or with this stage.
That's right. I believe that is his 14th match, and he's been very active with getting those matches done, that's for sure. Also, we are not quite going to Ganon from the look of things.
Yeah, DataWorld's got something on his mind at this point. I think Dataworld is taking a chest to Ganon.
Okay.
Well, you can't get that way. He doesn't have the portal set up over there. Where are we going with that chest, Data? Yeah, we are taking a chest to Ganon.
Well, apparently the contents of the purple chests are some cash. Maybe Link has
Is he trying to bribe Ganon?
I think he is, yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe he could go easy on Dataworld now. Wait a moment. Maybe Ganon's the specialist.
Maybe. Okay, maybe...
The guy in the desert's been a lie!
I mean, Ganon is considered a thief, so...
Wasn't Blind a thief?
True, yeah, but... You know, maybe that's why Ganon knew Blind and hired him for the... Oh, leaving the... Oh, wait. Okay, gotta get a fairy first.
Fairy off the tree, yep. Hi, Ganon. You'd like to talk about food? Well, here, I brought you lunch. Look at that beautiful chest. Wow, this is a nice chest.
I think Ganon's just standing there confused, honestly. Why are you being nice to me, Link? Oh no!
If the floor crumbles, does the chest go down?
I'm not sure. We're gonna find out. Oh no, we couldn't get it.
Oh, it's stuck over there. Did you find the arrows of the light world? Ooh, death! Oh!
He has a
There's
fairy,
a fairy. Oh no! The swing of them hit, and that pushed Link back, and he falls down. And oh!
Now he's running laps around the hole.
Check the telepathic tile. What does this one say? Oh, it's the secondary winners. Nice. That's where you put them.
Okay. And from the look of the timer, Dataworld has forfeited this race.
And with that, Dataworld has dropped out of the race. So Willard, at this point, will get credit for the win. Once again, that's local recording pending. We are not going to do interviews with either of these runners. It's one of those type of races that it just turned out to be awkward. So shout out to Zane, shout out to our tracker Sandra's, and shout out to Slim Kirby for joining me.
Hey, shout outs to you as well. Had a lot of fun calling this race with you. You know, circumstances aside, and also, of course, shout outs to both of our runners as well for, you know, putting on this show despite the technical difficulties. You know, it's always unfortunate when these things happen, but...
Hey, Houlihan!
Oh, hey. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
But yeah, again, these things happen. Technology's not perfect, and, you know, it was still a fun race to look at, all things considered. So.
And we ended off with a chest at Ganon.
We did, and you can definitely say that's something you've never seen unless you have been that adventurous and tried it yourself.
All right, so for that, we're going to say goodnight. Thanks for joining us. Go grab yourself some dinner or a late night snack, depending on where you are, or lunch, wherever you are. Next race coming up at 6:30. Solski versus Labor. We do have a race that's going on right now over on Speed Gaming 3. We'll take you over there. Jack's referee Vitasia is on the call for Shady Force and Hisan. Thanks for joining us. Have yourselves a great remainder of your Tuesday.
See you guys next time.